All right, 5 albums to introduce you to death metal. This list is not comprehensive and is part of a multi-video series, but let's jump right in. Number 1 is Death's Human. To me, this is the best album by the best band that the genre has to offer. Scream, Bloody Gore, and Leprosy are death metal's beginnings and are definitely worth checking out. Symbolic is essential as well. Really, every death album is. They're one of the greatest bands in metal history, but to me, Human represents everything that I love about this genre. This album is progressive and technical without compromising any of the heaviness or the replayability, the catchiness of these songs. Lyrics and songwriting that still hit just as hard as anything else by this band. Amazing place to start with death metal. Number 2, Morbid Angel Covenant. Altars of Madness and Blessed Are the Sick are just as essential, but might take a little bit more time to click for a new listener. Covenant really is the sweet spot. This is clean production with unreal drumming, grooves, pummeling intensity, really the pinnacle of mainstream death metal. This was released on a major label, got significant traction from MTV. It was mentioned by Beavis and Butthead, a really clean and easy entry point into one of the greatest death metal bands of all time's impressive discography. Number 3, Bolt Thrower, the Fourth Crusade. Bolt Thrower have to be mentioned on any death metal intro list, the gods of riffs and grooves. The Fourth Crusade is much slower than any of the other albums mentioned on this list, but with really thick and doomy riffs and grooves, and offers a much better opportunity for new listeners to pick up on some of the nuances of the songwriting. A lot of the other albums are probably too dizzying for a new listener to pick up on particular riffs, drum patterns, or awesome vocals, but Fourth Crusade being more mid-paced makes it a little bit easier for a new listener to hear those things, and that's a big part of enjoying death metal. Number 4, Immolation, Close to a World Below. Simply put, there are no bands that create atmosphere like Immolation. And I'm not just talking about death metal. No bands across any genre that can create an atmosphere like this. Spellbinding dissonance really drags you into another world. Immolation are the masters of eerie death metal, and this album is their crown jewel in a truly elite discography. Amazing album to introduce you to this part of death metal. Number 5, Incantation, Onward to Golgotha. Maybe the most controversial inclusion on this list, as Incantation probably have more naysayers than a lot of the other bands mentioned here. This album is not only a personal favorite and one that really made me fall in love with death metal, but it also serves as a bit of a blueprint for more modern 2010s era death metal. Bands like Blood Incantation, Tomb Mold, Vastum feel heavily indebted to this album and this band. They really pioneered the cavernous, doomy sound that became really popular. This album is filthy, grimy, and brutal, a true cornerstone of the genre. All right, that's the 5. I think that's a good place to start, as it gives you a pretty easy entry point into arguably the 3 most important death metal bands, Death, Morbid Angel, and Bolt Thrower. And then it gives you 2 albums that represent a different corner of the genre. Incantation with the really doomy, cavernous sound, and Immolation with the incredible atmosphere and dissonance. Definitely check those out and stay tuned for part 2. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe for more like this.